All right, so on that note, we're going to talk to some real professionals now, right? Again, I am a journalist, not a marketing professional, but we do have some professionals that we are very excited that you get the opportunity to hear from. I know by looking at this group, I'm jazzed. I'm going to learn some things, some real movers and shakers in our community, and I'm pumped for this next session, marketing and social media engagement, and Caitlin Crimmins is going to come be our moderator.
Good morning, everybody. So we have an awesome panel for y'all today, and we're going to talk about marketing and social media engagement. How many people in here have some form of social media? Raise your hand. Good. That's a lot of people. All right. Well, let's talk about why it's important for small businesses and why we need to use it. So first up, I'm going to welcome to the stage Rod Womble. Rod, the newest member at Domain Real Estate Services, started his career in Dallas in 1979. In 1981, he moved to Wichita Falls, where he formed Womble Properties and Investments, specializing in buying, selling, leasing, and management of commercial properties. Next up, we have Jackie Hager. Jackie is the owner of Hager Communications, a full-service, award-winning advertising agency. She believes in the power of storytelling, maximizing budgets, and continues to travel nationwide to stay on top of marketing trends. Hager Communications has clients in 23 states and works with for- and nonprofit clients to achieve results. Last but not least, we have Chad Crowley with Brocro Creative. Chad grew up in Archer City and took a keen interest in art and drawing. While attending MSU, where he graduated with a Bachelor's of Fine Arts, he began his career in the digital design world and marketing. After many years in the design and marketing world, he, along with Scott Brooks, started Brocro Creative, combining design, marketing, printing, and screen printing all within the same business. All right. Y'all can grab your mics. We're going to start with Jackie. They come off if you just want to hold it. Yeah. All right, Jackie. First, we're going to talk about how does social media play a part in your advertising budget as a small business?
Social media is probably up at the top, very top of the list today. It doesn't matter if you're selling toilet paper, or if you're selling $1,000 handbags, or if you're selling an oil service. I think social media has to be at the top of the list. What we sell, guys, it's not so much that you're selling social media. What you're selling are eyeballs and attention. And eyeballs and attention are all right there on that mobile device, which is not a telephone. It is a computer. It is a way of life. So I look at that device as it's never more than 3 feet away from us, almost in a 24-hour given period. It most likely is on your nightstand, and for many of us, especially that millennial, before they even put a toe out of the bed, they've reached over to grab their mobile device, to scroll through it, and look at their social media platforms, check their emails, whatever. So for some of our clients, they come, we have to drag them into the social media world because it's my job, Caitlin, to get them there. For others, especially with the millennials that work in our office, they know no other way. I have senior twins that are seniors in high school, and they've known no other way than having a mobile device attached to them. And they live, breathe, eat, sleep different platforms. So the key to using social media in your organization from a budgeting aspect obviously is to decide, as Carl told you earlier, who is your customer, who is your demographic, and which one of those social media platforms should you camp on the most. Now let me say the most, because social media changes drastically every single day. Many of you think, I wouldn't touch Snapchat. I don't even know what Snapchat is. I don't understand Snapchat. But I can tell you, Snapchat is the #1 form for 35 to 38-year-olds today. And it was the #1 form 18 months ago for 13-year-olds. So you can already see how important Snapchat is coming. So you have to look at every one of those platforms and give it money. The frustrating thing, I think, is that social media changes almost monthly. Algorithms change. I mean, we just got back from Seattle, sitting in Amazon's corporate house with their social media. We had Facebook in the house. We had Southwest Airlines in the house. We had Toyota in the house. And everything that we learned in July has almost been tweaked even as of today. So there's so many mechanics behind the interfaces of these platforms. Some people say, I'm great at Snapchat, I'm great at Facebook, I can run someone's business. It's not quite that simple today because there's so many different things and how we connect lookalike audiences. So as complicated as that seems, to the millennial, it's as easy as making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Social media is not going anywhere. For my father, he thinks it's going to be the death of society. For my mother, who said it would be a cold day before I ever get a Facebook account, only took a 14-year-old grandchild that said, Grandmommy, if you get a Facebook page, I'll talk to you. And I get the call the next day, come set up my Facebook page. So today, fast forward 5 years, she lives, breathes, eats, and sleeps Facebook. Facebook is the people magazine for the demographic 50 till Jesus, okay? It's their life. So while you and I may fly through Facebook, depending what your age is, and maybe you park it on Instagram, or you park it on Twitter, or you park it on LinkedIn, which is huge for you guys, or if you park it on Snapchat just to see what your kids are doing, each one of those platforms brings value to your business. And you have to decide, where do I camp on each one of those, and what revenue stream do I give one of those, and then what content do I put on those? So yes, it's huge, but last but not least, we are blessed to live in Wichita Falls, which means we can still afford a commercial, a 30-second commercial. We can still afford a radio spot. We can still afford to put an ad in the newspaper. Now you're thinking, who reads the newspaper today? Well, my husband still gets up and touches and feels and reads that newspaper every single day. I've not picked up a newspaper, but I read it online every day. If we were 100 miles south or 75 miles north, the cost of that television commercial would be 3 to 4 times. So God bless small business in Wichita Falls. You can have a pie that allows you to be able to give your message a little bit on those television, God bless them, a little bit on that radio, maybe dropping in an ad every once in a while depending on the demo that you're going after on newspaper, and then wrapping social media, wrap a little direct mail around it, and you have a very cohesive plan. The key is, how do you divide that pie? And that's what we do.
I think a lot of small business owners get social media, and then they struggle with, what do I post? And then their social media just sits there. What should they post on their social media?
Content is king, number one, you're right. But I could go into all types of, if you're a toilet paper business or if you're a car dealership. But the most important rule for social media, hands down, is just to be real and to be authentic. We no longer want canned messages, and we don't care. Your customers don't care about canned messages. They want you to be a storyteller, because that's really what the three of us do up here. We're storytellers. We tell stories of what you do. Our value proposition line at Hager is, we get people talking about your business. Period. End of story. So for goodness sakes, make sure that your content is real. Make sure that it's authentic. And make sure that you're not just throwing up a social media page and you post every once in a while and you never check it and you never reply to it. It's a way of life. It is as important as talking to them on the telephone. You know, every day I get, Caitlin and I go, oh my gosh, did that customer, did they email me? Did they text me? Did they Facebook message me? Did they Instagram DM me? You go, I can't remember where that message is. There's so many different ways to communicate. But more than anything, make sure your content is real.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Chad. So there are so many social media platforms. How do business owners choose the one that's right for them?
Well, the short answer to that is you ask your customers. So many of us, like Jackie said, there's so many out there. You need a presence on all of them, but where do you spend all your time? Where do you camp out? It's where your customers are, or your future customers. One of the easy ways to do that is to just ask them. Do it when they walk in the door. Hey, where do you get your information? How do you get your information? How do you communicate? What social media platforms are you on? You can put it on your online form when they do a checkout on your online store. Have a little drop down there. Ask, how'd you hear about us? Where do you find us? That type of stuff. Because that's where you want to put your dollars. Like Jackie said, you've got a pie, and you need to put some of them into social media, but not in all of them. If your customers aren't on Facebook, stop throwing money on Facebook ads. It's not doing anything. It'd be like me putting an ad out, on the highway. Not gonna do me much good, because my business isn't that type of business. So, find out where your customers are and focus your attention on there. Focus your attention on the content on those as well. You want to make sure, hey, if you're a photography, artsy type of business, Instagram. If you're a business to business, LinkedIn. If you're a 55 plus, Facebook. If you're a 90s pop band, MySpace. It's still there.
So how would you say is the best way for people to get a return on their marketing dollars on social media?
This is the question that everybody always asks us. I want to make sure I get my money's worth. How do I know I'll get my money's worth? You're getting your money's worth when people actually come into your shop and actually spend money with you. If not, what's it for? You might as well throw the money on the ground and step on it, because it's not doing any good. What you want to do, though, is anytime you're looking at your marketing budget, you got to go at it with a plan. You got to sit down and say, what is my goal? What is my marketing goal? Do I want 3 new customers this month? Do I want 5 new clients this quarter? Do I want to be the leader in my industry? Do I want to, have just a social media presence, or just be known in this industry? Figure out what that goal is, and then put your money towards that. Work towards that goal. When you're working with one of us, or some of the other agencies, or some of the other media agencies here in town, guys, if they come at you with a budget first, run. Okay, run. Because they need to come at you with the question, what is your goal? Because once they know that goal, then they can put the budget together. But if they come at you with the budget first, it doesn't do any good. Because I could come at you and say, hey, for $50,000, I can build you a sign that'll get 104,000 impressions every day on your business. And that's true. If every single person in Wichita Falls drove down your street, past your business, just happened to look over to the right at the right time without the sun in their eyes to see that sign. Yeah, my numbers are correct, and I can sell you that. But it's one of those things that's not realistic. What is your goal? Is that sign really reaching the customers you wanted to reach? Is it progressing your marketing goal? If it is, then spend the money there.
Going back to the first question, so say they find the social media platform that works best for them and their customers, what do they do with it after that?
Well, you got to use it. The thing about social media, the little first word there, social, that's key. You got to keep it social. It's all about building a community. So many of us get Facebook pages, and we'll have clients come to us and their Facebook page, and you scroll down and it's ad. Well, what do you do with commercials at home on TV? Skip them? Yeah, they're doing the same thing to your social media post. Make it a community. Be real with them. Have a conversation on there. Guys, one of the most fun things I've ever done on social media just recently was I've tried to find the best fried burrito in North Texas. Now, to my fault, I didn't put it on my business page. It was on my personal Facebook page. But I had people talking about these videos. I went around and videoed me eating some burritos, and it was great. But I had people offering to send me burritos, to mail me burritos, bring me burritos, offering me burritos if I'd bring their T-shirts to them. If I'd make a delivery, they'd buy me a burrito. It was fun. It had engagement. People were excited about it. I had to stop it when we went to the wine festival, festival, and people were coming to me talking about burritos, and my wife got embarrassed. So she made me stop it. But it's one of those things that have fun with it. Don't feel like it's one of those things that, I can only post ads. Spend more money on the content than you do the ads.
Thank you. Rod's going to talk to us a little bit about what advice he would give to a small business owner looking for their first retail space.
I'm talking about something a little different than everybody else. What I'm going to speak about is something that happens way before the marketing and everything. It's also a pretty big item on the list of small business. And I'm going to talk mostly about small business entrepreneurs, the first-timers. The word is location, location, and location. There's a reason they say that 3 times. Like an old cowboy said, it must be important. He said it 3 times. So remember that. Now, in looking at the items that I think are important for deciding this location, first there's demographics. The demographic area that you need to get into to matches your product or your goods and services. There's different kinds of retail, and we all understand that. There's products, and then there's service industry. So you first go out, get the demographic area that you know that matches what you're trying to put out that door, what you're trying to sell. It has to be in the area of, like the city of Wichita Falls here, it has to be in that area. It doesn't necessarily have to always be in the high end of the area. It can be in different demographic areas. You match those up. Secondly, you have your price points. Price points dictate or the prices you're going to sell the product. They're either going to be a high price, low price. In the service industry, they kind of go all over the map, like the insurance business. You're selling all different kinds of policies. So you match the price points with your demographic area, and then you start to see where you're forming where you need to go, because they have to line up. And then you have the property in which you need to go into for that location. Well, the properties, there's retail, and of course there's a service industry. And for properties, I like to go into the shopping centers. Shopping centers, a lot of service industries now are in the shopping centers. It's about a 50-50 mix. It's not just all pure retail. So you have national credit tenants, you have regional credit tenants, which are several franchises or ownerships in the state of Texas, and they have stores maybe in Oklahoma. Those are regional. And then, of course, you have your small business owners, and those are called mom and pops in our industry. That's what we call them. And we love the mom and pops. So a lot of times you'll see the nationals with the regional and the regional with the mom and pops or the small business. What I really like to see a lot of is when you see a shopping center that's out there and it's all small business. There might be 3 of them. There might be a center that has 10 or 15 mom and pop owners in there. And guess what they do? They pool this marketing together. They use each other. They go in and they use their marketing, and they'll also have, if they have trouble with their employees, they need someone to step in, they share a lot of ideas. They share a lot of things because the national tenants and the regional tenants won't really do much with you. They pretty much ignore you. So I like to see the small business owners go into a situation where it is a center strictly for that. Now in the service industry, they can go into an office building, and that demographically, it can be in downtown, that demographic area, or they can have a high-rise over by the mall. So, and then in between there's office buildings and freestanding buildings all over the demographic area. So there's plenty of places for them to go set up shop and make their product work good with their price points and the demographic area. So you can see what's coming together. Then you have your financial ability. The financial ability really kicks in, and I know that can go in the front end. A lot of people like to do that first, but you can put it wherever you want to. But my point is the financial ability will determine your demographic area, your price points, and the property that you want to go into in your location. You need to have that financial ability in line and planned out and know. It's like going to the grocery store hungry. Don't do that when you're going finding a spot to go put your retail. You're going to overdo it, and I see a lot of that. And so if you have the financial ability in place with your demographics, with your price points and your property, you got it going. And the last thing is a big decision, which I see a lot of mistakes in for first-time small business owners, and I also see it quite a bit with people who've been in business for several years. That is the option of either leasing or purchasing your location. Let's talk about purchasing. I am not a big believer at all in owning your real estate as a first-time small business entrepreneur. I just don't believe in it. I believe the money that it takes nowadays to get financed, to the 20 to 30% you have to put down to buy your location, that's better spent on your inventory, on your personnel, training your employees that we've talked about here, your marketing, hiring another extra employee, or paying them more. But more specifically, to find you a better demographic area and having the financial ability to use that later. Use that money for what well, it's like this. You got Hobby Lobby, you have Mardell's, you have Target, you have TJ Maxx, and all the Dollar Generals. All of those people lease. They do not own their properties, they lease them. And like Hobby Lobby decided a long time ago, we're going to be in the Hobby Lobby business. We're not going to be in the real estate business. We're going to do what we do best, all right? Now, you can be passionate, you first-timers, be passionate about your product. But guess what? Be passionate about it. Do you want to be passionate and sell that product, or do you want to be passionate and be in the real estate business? If you want to be in the real estate business, come join me, all right? But don't come and get me to go sell what you're doing. I don't know how to do that. So you go and own the business, you've tied up your money, you don't have it. On the other side of the spectrum, you have a husband and wife. They have a 1,800 square foot shopping center space. They've done their demographics work, their price points work, their financial ability. They found their location, everything's coming together. They do a 3-year lease. They're not committed too long. Guess what? He goes to her and he says, I need another employee in the back helping fixing box. She said, well, guess what? I want to sell more expensive box. I found another line. We need to either expand where we are, or we need to move to a different demographic area because maybe this one doesn't handle the price points we want, or maybe the demographics have changed. So guess what they have in place? They got their financial ability sitting over here that they didn't screw up. They worked hard for three years, made their product work, and now it's time to grow. They have that financial ability sitting there. So they can go pick their demographic space again, pick their price points, do that all over, and they can do this for years after years after years. And that's the way I like to see it work. In closing, first off, I'd like to thank the governor's office for giving me an opportunity to speak, because this is really important to me. I see an awful lot of small business mistakes, and I have a lot of friendships with a lot of them, a couple of them here I have today here, and so I appreciate it. One last thing. You heard the Governor Abbott speak earlier about small business being the backbone of the economy. That's true. But also, I like to think of the economy as a train, all right? The economy is a train. And most small business people that I know, and I bet most of them out there, think they are the caboose of the train. They think they're riding the caboose of the train, because they're a small business. And then big business is the engineer of the train. They're the conductor. They're the driving force. Well, in the 2010 census, that's the newest census we have. We got one coming out, which will be better, I think. 27.9 million small businesses in the United States. And I think the governor's office, I read that it said there was 4 or 5 million just in the state of Texas. That's kind of a new number. I might be wrong on that. But also, 97.7% of employer firms are small business in the United States. These are all United States stats. And the last one, 50% of the United States private sector workforce is small business. Now, I'll tell you something. We are the backbone. We are the backbone. And we are not riding in the caboose. As a collective unit, small business is driving. We are the engineer of the train. We are the driving force of the train. Big business can go back to the back end. I forgot to tell you, there's 18,500 or more employee businesses out there. I don't know if I told you that or not. There's 27.9 million small businesses, 18,500 businesses with 500 employees or more. We outnumber them, all right? And so if you're here, you first-time small business entrepreneurs, if you're out there, do what you've learned here today. Practice what you've learned here today. Do your demographic work, do this marketing, but on the location-wise, do what you hear and what they're teaching you. And one day, you will be a successful small business owner, and guess what? You'll be the engineer of a train too. Thank you.
Thank you, Rod. All right, we can clap. Okay, I have one more question for y'all before we open it up to Q&A, so y'all start thinking. What is your favorite social media platform and why? Y'all can go in whatever order you like.
I'll let you take it.
You want me to take it first?
Yeah.
Social media sells stuff. That's number one. Whatever you have, it sells. Whether you're an attorney, an insurance, a retailer, it sells stuff. So my favorite for ROI today, hands down, is Facebook. It sells more stuff. Personally, I camp more on Twitter than anything in my private time because the president keeps me 100% entertained. But when it comes to ROI for the North Texas area, because that would not be the case if I was on the East Coast or the West Coast. We have clients in 23 states, and I spend their money differently. So for your ROI, North Texas, Facebook. Me personally, I love Twitter.
Oh, yeah. I'm the Facebook guy. I gave up Twitter. I can't do it. I don't have the attention span, or my ADD kicks in or something. I don't know. Facebook, yeah, she's right. Facebook is it. It's larger than all the other social medias combined right now. It's the largest search engine in the world. So I spend a lot of time on Facebook. But personally, I like Instagram. It's, I get the snapshot of people's lives and just be able to engage with people through photos. That creative side of my brain likes that side. Mm-hmm. So Instagram would be my choice.
I know you're a real estate guy, but do you have any thoughts?
I can't spell Facebook or Twitter. In commercial real estate, in residential, it's a different animal, but I'm commercial real estate. What I use to market is we have a thing called LoopNet. I have all my properties. You can be anywhere in the United States, and you can say Wichita Falls, Texas. You're from South Dakota, and you say, what's for sale, what's for lease? Look it up. Anybody can get on there. Now, I have to pay for premiums to get on that and all that stuff. Also, on the side note on that, there's CoStar, which you can pay a monthly fee, and then they can look at everything that I have up. Also, that's a lot of brokers and agents all across the country, but you can be an investment type guy and use that. And then I also have domain real estate. We have a website, and I have my own website underneath that, and has all my listings. And then Wichita Falls Association of Realtors has a multiple listing service, and I'll have all my listings on that. And then, of course, you drive around. My big social media, I guess, is 4x8 signs that say Schaff and Clark on it. And that's my idea, but I just don't use the other.
Hey, I mean, you kind of use it. You just don't even know it.
Yeah, I probably do, but brokers do a lot with each other other ways instead of social media.
Right. Do we have any questions from the audience? Don't be shy.
I like Snapchat, but I have not started doing business on Snapchat. So my question to Chad and Jackie, do you guys do any business on Snapchat? And then if so, what are you posting? It's probably not some using filters on yourself. So what could we do Snapchat-wise? And do people follow you if you're on Snapchat as a business?
The answer to that is yes. But let me give you a great example. We handle the franchise urban air adventure parks all over the United States. And the sweet spot demo of that are kids 7 to about 15, even though mom drives the checkbook. So the answer to that is I get the kids on Snapchat and some mom, and then I seal the deal with mom on Instagram, okay? We seal the deal with grandma on Facebook. So you see how we're doing that? And then we seal the deal on corporate things B2B on LinkedIn. Are you with me? So there's a purpose for each one. I can promise you if we sat here a year from now, Jessica, Snapchat could be your new favorite ROI spot, okay? So yes, people follow you on Snapchat. Snapchat is a blurb of life. And this next generation of kids, even under our millennials, do everything even at the faster than the millennials do. Everything is in quick bites, and that's how it is. I mean, sometimes I sit down for 5 minutes and I feel like I've sat down for an hour because life happens in minutes, just in little bitty blurbs. So your answer is press forward with Snapchat and your return will be huge for your product.
Awesome. Any other questions? Nope. Back.
How do you feel Google responds to your Facebook? Someone actually was to Google you, and you're a website, and you're a Facebook, and I'm trying to figure out, what restaurant I want to eat at and which one that I Google through. Instead, I okay Google while driving in the car. How does your social media respond to that?
Well, Facebook is the number one ranked website in the world. So Google is even going to find your Facebook page and your Facebook post faster than anything else. A lot of times your Facebook page will come up above your website.
Yes.
So, I mean, yeah, keep those social media accounts current. Nothing worse than, looking on Facebook at a company and not seeing a post for the last 2 years. You sort of wonder if they're even in business. So keep them active, and Google understands that and registers that and, uses that information.
However, keep in mind, Facebook is the new Google. Let's just lay that out there. But don't negate Google. Google is still a massive driving force. But you said the word restaurant. If you're in the restaurant business, Yelp is one of your favorite wrap around, get it around there. So Yelp should be driving that business as well. Every industry has a different platform and plan, even though they all work together. And one thing you might realize, all of you are business owners in this, I'm assuming, small business owners or decision makers in your company. If you're not blowing up your LinkedIn, you're missing a major opportunity. Our biggest leads in our office in the last 60 days, because we monitor it, is coming from LinkedIn. LinkedIn is B2B all the way, with, Jessica, a tiny social aspect. A year ago, if you posted anything on social, on LinkedIn, people criticized you. This is a B2B business platform. We don't want to know about that pumpkin spice coffee that comes up. Are you with me? Today, they want to know it, okay? So don't knock it. It is penetrating even the social side. So don't forget about LinkedIn either.
Any other questions?
I have a service business, and I have a Facebook page that I'm active on. I post the services that I provide, but I don't have like an actual hardcore website where it's just like a web address. Is that even necessary during this age?
You go ahead.
Yeah, my opinion on that one is, yes, you still need a website. I've got some clients that their domain points to their Facebook page. I don't necessarily push that. I would rather have at least a landing page. Google still needs to find that information multiple ways. So I would say, yes, you still need a website.
The answer is yes, 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 and yes. Your website is the front door to your business. Do websites have to cost $10,000 today like they used to? No. The price of purely coded WordPress websites have decreased dramatically. Do not use a platform. I wouldn't use Wix or anything, because Google doesn't recognize that as well as they do as an authentic WordPress site. It doesn't have to be a complicated page. It's just an informational page. But again, don't do the proverbial mistake. I have a website. I put it, make sure it's relevant as well, and make sure that it's responsive. Responsive means it can roll on any device, whether I'm on a phone, a pad, a desktop, whatever. That's number one. Google won't even recognize the other ones. But number two, if you have a website, for goodness sakes, work it every day and keep it caught up and keep the content on it accurate and make sure that it's all connected together. So to me, Facebook, a website is pretty much the flour to the cake that you're going to bake, and the icing is Facebook, and the cherry is your LinkedIn. Are you with me? So it all works together in the recipe.
Yeah, 80% of people check out a business online before
Yes.
they'll actually step in your doors. So you've got to have that presence. So make sure it's, like she said, current, up to date. Nothing worse than looking at a website that hadn't been updated in 2 years. You sort of wonder if they're even in business. So.
And remember, your Facebook is your phone book as well. I don't even own a phone book. Don't touch a phone book. If it comes to my house, I drop it in the trash can. So Facebook and your website are that's how I look up numbers every day. And your phone number needs to be literally within 2 seconds when I get to your website. I need to see your phone number. Okay?
That's all the time. Oh, we'll take one more and then we got to wrap up.
This is for Ron. What do you see as the greatest impediment to real estate development in the city of Wichita?
Boy, that's a tough one. Do you have an hour? Our development really has done pretty amazing. If you look back in the last 10 years, you can drive around and see it. The greatest impediment we have now, a lot of people come to Wichita Falls, the businesses will locate here, but we hit that plateau of 100,000 population, and that was the plateau that brought what we have now, and maybe bring some others. But that next plateau is 125,000, 130,000 people. And that may take us a while to get there. But if you do a 60-mile radius of Wichita Falls, because we are such a medical facility now, and the Shepherd Air Force Base, and the retirement centers here, and everything else we have to offer besides that, it goes up to 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 people pretty quick. So we may not have the development numbers to get them here, but we can sure market ourselves to get those numbers maybe a little better, and they'll come. I don't think it's anything we're particularly doing wrong. There might be some issues with I can get into some planning and development and some of that stuff. I'm not going to go there. But at the same time, we've got to promote our city better and get the more successful small businesses there are, and better we market even our city services and everything else. I think that'll come. But it's a tough one, because we got to get that next plateau to achieve that. Thank you.
Everybody give a round of applause for our panel. And I just realized I never introduced myself. My name's Caitlin Cremines, and I'm a digital manager at DesignWorks Group, and it has been a great morning. I hope y'all had a good time, and any questions that y'all have, just come find us afterwards, and we'll be sure to answer them for you. Thank you.